Hello, welcome to Too Fond of Books March Mystery Madness Reading Sprints. I'm excited to spend some time with you guys this afternoon chatting about the books we've been reading and also getting some reading done with the reading sprints. So how has your March Mystery Madness been going so far? Let me know you're here. Say hi in the comments. Yeah, it's been a great month so far. I was just actually looking back over my I record books in my book here, and I've had a really great month so far. I have 3 5-star reads from the month. One of them is a reread, and I knew that it was going to be 5 stars again. Hi, Carolyn. Yay, nice to see you here. The other 5-star reads were London Bridge is Falling Down by Christopher Fowler. That's the latest in his Peculiar Crimes Unit series. And it looks like potentially the last. It was so good. Boy, did I love that one. And then Something to Hide by Elizabeth George was the third one. So yeah, I've had a great reading month, and I've also had some 4 and 4.5 star reads. So yeah, it's been a great reading month so far. How about you guys? What's been your favorite read so far this month? I would love to know. So yeah, we're gonna chat a little bit, and then we're gonna read a little bit. I'm thinking of doing 30-minute, not 30 minutes, 20-minute reading sprints, if that sounds okay to you guys. Carolyn, what's DST? Oh, daylight savings time? Yes. Yeah, that's great that you were able to have book club and also do this. That's great. Yeah, Saskatchewan doesn't follow daylight savings time, which I'm totally fine with. It doesn't bother me at all. It just makes life a little bit more complicated because all the other provinces do. And so my parents, for example, they live in the next province over in Alberta. And so for part of the year, they're an hour behind us, and then for part of the year they're the same. And so just remembering what's happening when can get a little bit confusing, but other than that, I don't mind. I certainly don't mind not losing an hour of sleep, that's for sure. All right, so why don't I show you what I plan to be reading for these reading sprints. I am in the middle of The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This was a recommendation from Carolyn, so thank you very much, Carolyn. I'm a bit over halfway through. I have to say, this book is crazy. It's crazy. I am so confused, but also just really intrigued by how this world works too. It's described on the front as Agatha Christie meets Groundhog Day, which is hilarious. And it's led to some very interesting conversations with Aaron about how Groundhog Day seems to have really started this genre in books and movies of living that same day over and over again. Carolyn, you're on your second March Mystery Madness read, Something Rotten. Oh, so that's a Thursday next book. That's Jasper Fforde. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Hi, Helen. I know, it's been a whole week since we were last here. I know. Hi, Breezy Ann. Nice to see you. You're on your lunch break. I'm glad that you were able to stop by and say hi. Storm is here. Hi, Storm. She is reading Die Trying by Lee Child. Oh, that's the second one, and you're liking it more than the first one. That's very interesting. I wasn't going to bother continuing on with the series, but what do you think, Storm? Should I read the second one? They're not really the kind of books that I normally read, but I did really like the first one. And you're liking it more, Storm. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so I've got The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Has anyone else watching read this? Because yeah, it's it takes concentration too to read that book and to keep up with the revelations and understanding what's going on. Yeah. I'm also reading Double Double by Ellery Queen. This one is a great one for this year's theme of 2x2, obviously calling it Double Double. But even in the back, it talks about bodies dropping 2x2. So that's perfect. This was published in 1950, I think. Yeah. So I wanna read this one too. I'm guessing it'll be a pretty quick read. I should probably be able, if I focus on that one, I should be able to get it read this afternoon. I should have been doing that all along then, Carolyn, messaging you, because I've had so many reactions already. It's crazy. Breezy Ann is finishing The Moon Spinners by Mary Stewart. I haven't read that one. I love Mary Stewart, but I haven't read The Moon Spinners yet. And Elephants Can Remember by Agatha Christie. Nice. That's also an Agatha Christie that I haven't read yet. So that's awesome. 61 Hours by Lee Child. Helen, is that another Jack Reacher or is that a standalone book? I'm really unfamiliar with Lee Child. And then because I'm a mood reader, of course, and it all depends on what I'm feeling like at the time, I've got as an option In Cold Blood by Jane Bettany. This is out from the library, and the main character is D.I. Isabel Blood, and they're called to investigate. And when she gets to the location, she discovers that it's the house that she grew up in when she was a child, and there's a body in the backyard that's been buried in the backyard. And her dad has been missing since she was 14. So she's like, a little bit worried that it's her dad that they're discovering in the back garden, which just sounds, it just sounds really good. Storm. It's also in third person, which is different from book one. Oh, that's very interesting, Storm. Huh. I might have to give it a whirl and see. That's very interesting that it's third person when the first book was first person. That's very interesting. Hi, Berna. Yay. Oh, it's late for you there. I'm glad you popped on even for a little bit. It's nice to see you. Carolyn. Carolyn's going to keep reading the Maeve Binchy she's listening to, but then remembered the reading sprints and switched back to Something Rotten. Way to keep it on point. Helen, it is a Jack Reacher. Not sure it's your thing, but I see why people love the series. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, they're very well written. And the character of Jack Reacher, I found him intriguing in the first book. They're not the type of books that I normally read, but I can see myself potentially reading a second one and seeing what I think. Julianne, hi, Julianne. Nice to see you. You're not late at all. We're glad that you're here. What do you guys think of doing a reading sprint starting at quarter after? So that will be in 7 minutes. Unless you want to dive right in and do one in 2 minutes starting at 10 after. Berna plans to read a couple chapters from a middle grade mystery called The Emperor's Riddle by Kat Zhang. That sounds good. I get Carolyn says she gets Jack Reacher and Jack Ryan mixed up. Oh, I know. I do too. I totally do too. I did just the other day when Aaron and I were talking about it. But Jack Ryan is Clancy, I think. Yeah. But yeah, Carolyn, I totally get that. All right. So let me know. Do you guys want to dive right into a reading sprint here in a minute, or do you want to wait 6 more minutes to start a reading sprint? Let me know. I'm up for anything. Carolyn's whatever. Yeah, it is Tom Clancy. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I get Jack Reacher and Jack Ryan mixed up all the time. They're both called Jack. It was very interesting, actually, in the first Jack Reacher book, the one that I read, it was a new edition out with like a tie-in to the new show that's on Prime, Amazon Prime. And there was an introduction written in there by Lee Child, and he talks about how he came up with the character of Jack Reacher, and he chose Jack because he wanted just a really plain name. But then Aaron and I were commenting that it seems like now it seems like everybody is called Jack. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you here. And they both have our last names. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, let's just dive right in, you guys. Let's do a reading sprint, and we'll start now and go until the half hour. So yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. I'm going to keep going with Evelyn Hardcastle right now. I'm quite invested at this point, and still so confused. But I'm in. So yeah, let's read until the half hour. Storm, I just read your. Yeah, I could see myself having the same problem. All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your reading sprint. All right. Oh, Tiffany is here. Hello, Tiffany. She is reading How to Book a Murder, the first book in the Starlit Bookshop by Cynthia Kun. Excellent. Welcome, Hearts and Whodunits, reading Silver Creek Bodyguard. All right, how did it go? For everyone, I read about almost 20 pages. I was a little distracted by a few other things, but yeah, this this Evelyn Hardcastle book, you really have to focus and pay attention to what's going on. And let me tell you, the it gets really complicated, like keeping track of this. So this was part of the conversation that I was having with Aaron earlier. In Groundhog Day, in the movie, you have one person living this day over and over and over again, and he has the memories, and so he tries to change things. And everyone's saying hi. That's awesome. In this book, you have one guy who wakes up every day in the body of a different person, and he's supposed to solve this murder. But it is way more complicated than that. The days don't necessarily go in order or to completion. And like, it is so complicated. I feel like I've been writing a few little things down to try and keep track of stuff or questions that I have. But I feel like I should be one of those crazy people who have like a huge whiteboard, and I've just been writing all over it, trying to keep things in order, and like what information he has and whatever. And I also feel like in this book, nobody is reliable, that he can't trust anybody in order to figure out what's going on. Yeah. Whew. Helen made some coffee and read a chapter of The Widow. Double W's. That's perfect. By Fiona Barton. Helen, I think that I've read that book a while ago, but I can't remember now. Carolyn. See, that's probably the way I should be reading it, but like the way that I read mysteries, I try to solve them. And so the fact that right on the front cover it says Agatha Christie meets Groundhog Day, I can't help myself. I try and solve it like a whodunit, and I really need to just give up and just enjoy the book, but I can't seem to do it. Berna says, I'm right about Evelyn Hardcastle, and that's what she loved about the book. Interesting. The Widow sounds an intriguing title, Helen. Yeah. Yeah. So I can't help myself from reading the book that way. But maybe I just need to let all that go and just go along for the ride and really, just enjoy it as I'm reading it. Helen, you're enjoying the Widow. Yeah, that sounds really familiar. I think that I have read it a while ago. Yeah. All right. So, everybody's already talked about the books that they are reading right now. What is your favorite book that you've read so far this month for March Mystery Madness? I'm really curious to hear what some of your favorites have been. Carolyn says normally she doesn't like unreliable characters, but in mysteries it makes sense that no one is quite telling the truth. Yeah, that's actually true. Most often people are lying, and not always because they're the killer. Often, murder investigations bring up so many other things too, and so people lie for many reasons. Annika, yay! You're just in time. We'll be starting another reading sprint here in about 5 minutes, so it's nice to have you here. Berna read 3 short chapters of The Emperor's Riddle, 2 siblings trying to find their aunt, as well as the treasure of the medieval emperor of China. Ooh. Yeah, I think I need the whiteboard, Annika. That's just the way I solve mysteries. I'm like that with Agatha Christie too. Like I like to write out all of the, all of the characters / suspects and clues that I found and connections that I'm making. I do just really enjoy doing that. That's half the fun for me in a mystery. Carolyn says there are many secrets in mysteries. Better Late Than Never has been your favorite read. Hearts and Whodunits. Who wrote that? Helen says it's with a character, Kate Waters, a journalist. Favorite book so far? I'll have to think. Read a lot so far. I have too. I kind of had this like unconscious thought that maybe I would try to read a book a day, and I'm not quite there yet, but because I'm reading The Breaking Point by Mary Roberts Rinehart, and I'm like halfway through that, and I'm more than halfway through this one. I'm gonna be pretty close. Let me just count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've read 16 books so far. So I'm gonna have to pick up the pace if I do want to get to actually a book a day for the month. I think that would be really fun. Carolyn says, hi, Annika. Oh, are you guys talking about the one that Julie and they host the Agatha Christie one? Is that the one you guys are talking about? Hi, Kevy. Nice to see you here. Tiffany's fave is A Crafty Crime by Erin Scott. Ooh, that sounds good. Oh, it's a Jen McKinley. I've read her some of the books in her library series. I can't remember exactly the title of that one. But I haven't read any of her other series. Kevy is currently editing one of my videos and then going to resume Breaking Point. Kevy, what are your thoughts so far on Breaking Point? It's interesting. So I didn't know anything about it when I chose that one for my read along for March Mystery Madness. I just chose it because it was published in 1922, and it's not a whodunit. It's a romantic suspense, and I wish I knew that ahead of time so that I could let people know, because honestly, like, it throws you when you have a certain idea about what a book is going to be and it's not that. It really affects your reading of the book. And I know that I wasn't the only one who was expecting a whodunit. And so it's a romantic suspense, which means it's a very different type of mystery. The pacing is different. It's a very slow build. So yeah. Carolyn says, reading experience wise, I loved Murder on Sea with you. Yay, we just read that. That's the second Whitstable mystery. But I gotta say, I do love being back with Thursday. Jasper Fforde is so funny. I love the puns. Yeah, he is. He is very funny. I love Jasper Fforde. Hardcore, a book a day. I know. Oh, that one is part of the Library Lover series. I haven't read one of those books in a while. I need to get back to that series because I'm pretty sure that I've never finished it. That's one of those series that I may not have been reading in order either. I do that sometimes, depending on what I can get a hold of at my library. Berna says, my favorite mystery book is Riley's Death by Rhys Bowen so far. Ooh, I haven't started that one yet. I'm thinking of starting that. Our discussion for that's next weekend, so I need to start that one soon. That's the second in the Molly Murphy series. Oh, hello, Naomi. Nice to see you here. Carol or Annika was at that book club. Good. Carolyn says she normally attends the Christie Book Club, but I've been taking a health break. This was a discussion of Railway Children that Kate was hosting. Oh, that's very fun. Kevy, yeah, I'm really thrown off by it being a romantic suspense and not a whodunit, still having a difficult time getting into it. Yeah, it's because it's a really slow build. And so you kind of just have to go with it, like accept that it's a slower pace. And I am still intrigued though. I'm very interested in what's going to happen with that one. Greenstick Cottage. Hi. I am reading The Breaking Point, but it does get frustrating sometimes because I want some people to act differently. I get it. I get what you're saying. Berna, The Breaking Point is very interesting. I hope it gets better. Yeah, I'm getting to the point now, like I read chapters 21 to 23, I think it was today, and the action is now moving from the town where they were in to Narado in Wyoming. And I'm hoping that with the action moving there, that the pace is going to pick up, that we're really going to start to get into some stuff. Yeah. Annika says, I just found A Mind to Murder on my shelves. Does anyone know if it's a good one? P.D. James. Ooh, yeah. P.D. James. It's going to be one of the Adam Dalgliesh ones. I haven't read it in a very long time, but I love that series. P.D. James is such a fantastic writer. Her mysteries are, like, I guess you would say they're police procedurals because they follow Commander Dalgliesh. But there's so much more in her books, and he's such an interesting character himself. Excuse me, he also writes poetry, and he has poetry collections that have been published. That's a good series. Naomi, I loved The Souls of Lost Lake, but not much else in regard to mysteries so far. All right, so a bit of a rough month for you so far, Naomi, as far as mysteries go. Ooh, Kevy, I'm only on chapter 12. Ooh, well then I will be quiet. Not spoil for you. Helen. Yeah. P.D. James wrote, I mean, her books a long time ago. So, yeah, it depends, I guess. Hi, Storm. Get ready to cook. 62% into die trying. Very good. All right. What do you guys think of doing another reading sprint here at quarter 2, and then we'll do 20 minutes again. We'll read until 5 after, if that's all right with you. I was debating about whether or not I will move into my Ellery Queen book, but yeah, no, I'm really into this Evelyn Hardcastle, so I think I'm just going to stick with it and try and figure out what's going on. Although maybe I need to just let that go and just enjoy the book. So yeah, in a minute and a half, we will start another reading sprint, if that's okay with everybody. Oh, I just forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something about The Breaking Point, maybe. Helen thinks Evelyn needs my full concentration. It does. It totally does. Have you read that book, Helen? It's one of those ones where you cannot kind of doze off or think about other things. You really do have to concentrate. Maybe you can spend part of the reading sprint hunting down your physical book, Carolyn. That would be all right. All right, so we are about to start our second reading sprint. So we will read until, oh, I need to create a banner for this. Okay. All right, let's do it. We'll read until 5 after. All right. Have fun, everyone. Welcome back. I have to say, of all of the times for a reading sprint to finish, oh my goodness, something just happened in my book and oh my goodness. I can't wait now till the next reading sprint. I have to keep going. Oh my goodness. Okay. Helen said before the reading sprint that she usually reads 2 books at a time, but sometimes books like Evelyn focus. Yeah, I quite often have multiple books going on at one time, but this one requires focus. And also now we are totally getting to this point where I need to know what's going to happen. Wow. Oh, Michelle, hello. Welcome here. I'm glad you're joining us for these reading sprints. Hello. We've got a new, I'm not going to say your name properly, Dramione forever. Sorry. Welcome here, though. Carolyn, I will message you on Voxer after these reading sprints are over, definitely, because oh wow. All right, so how did the reading go for you guys? I don't know. Did you guys get to a point like I did where you just wanted to keep going? Hearts and whodunits. I got a little distracted, but read a couple of pages. There you go. Some is better than none. Annika. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh. So it's Hermione then? Am I saying it right then? From Harry Potter? Because I know it's Hermione and Draco. Hermione, maybe then? All right, good. Well, welcome here. Okay, whew. I'm still totally focused on my book here. Wow. Okay. Another chapter read, Helen. That's great. 66%. Oh, and you chopped some veggies for tacos. Ooh, we had fish tacos for lunch. Stormy, they were very, very good. Naomi's been doing some editing. Oh, good for you. Yeah, that can take a while. Good for you, Naomi. All right. So, since I'm all focused here on my Evelyn Hardcastle book, and even for those of you who haven't read it, I'm curious though about this Groundhog Day connection. So, have you guys all seen that movie Groundhog Day? Carolyn says tacos sound delicious. Veggie tacos. Oh yeah, veggie tacos would be really good. Okay, so Groundhog Day. Excuse me. This idea of reliving the same day over and over again. Now, Aaron and I were talking about this because he's watched a few movies that have that idea. Excuse me, that concept. But I've been trying to think of another book other than the Evelyn Hardcastle one that uses that concept of reliving the same day over and over again in order to accomplish something, some purpose. But I can't think of any. Do you guys know of any books that are like that? They don't have to be mysteries, just any books at all where the character is reliving the same day over and over again. I'm very curious because it's super complicated. You weren't a fan, Storm? Yeah, fair enough. But it is an interesting concept of being able to, of repeating the same day over and over again. And one thing Aaron had said that the one thing that made the movie work was that they didn't bother to try and explain why it was happening. It was just happening, and he could, he could stop it if he figured something out, if he did something, right? So, and actually, in all honesty, that's true, I think, of of all good time travel, honestly, is it works better if you don't try and explain too much of it. Naomi says the Midnight Library is kind of like that, but it is about the choices that you regret. Who wrote that one, Naomi? I haven't read that one. Michelle, is there really a Stephanie Plum with that concept? Which one? I've read most of the Stephanie Plums except for like the last one or two, but I can't remember. I'm very curious now which one of those. That's very interesting. Hey, Rainy, welcome here. You rewatched Groundhog Day, Carolyn? Oh, Helen, there it is. Before I Go to Sleep by Anne Watson. The character has memory loss and she feels she lives the same day over and over, but it didn't get repetitive for the reader. There it is. I was thinking that there was one and I could not think who it was. S.J. Watson. Yes, I've read that book and it did have kind of a Groundhog Day feel to it. The Midnight Library, Matt Haig. Okay, I haven't read that one yet, The Midnight Library, but yes, Before I Go to Sleep, that one did kind of have a Groundhog Day kind of feel to it. Storm says In a Holidays by Christina Loren is kind of a Groundhog Day. Okay, all right. Berna, Life After Life, but she is reborn after each death. Okay, now that one, is that Kate Atkinson, Berna? Not living the same day, but sort of some of the same concepts here of that sort of time travel or, you know, reborn, living the same day kind of thing. Yeah, Annika, you're right. You just have to be there for the ride with time travel books. It's way better than if the author tries to explain how the time travel works. Oh, 50 First Dates. Okay, yeah, she's reliving the same day over and over again. You're right. I totally forgot about that. The In a Holidays is that premise, but at Christmas. Michelle, the Stephanie Plum, it's one of the Christmas ones. Okay, I'm going to have to look that one up. I can't remember. Helen loves The Midnight Library. Haven't read that one yet. Oh, interesting. That's very interesting. Carolyn says that she hasn't read The Midnight Library, but she's heard that he's incredibly comforting for mental health stuff. That's interesting. Kate Atkinson, Life After Life. Okay. I haven't read that one. I've read Transcription, maybe it was called. Yeah, Outlander and The Time Traveler's Wife. I haven't read The Time Traveler's Wife, but with Outlander works because the author doesn't bother to explain how it works, really, that she travels. Annika, Back to the Future. Classic. You're right. That is, oh my goodness, that is classic. Helen says you have to be in the right frame of mind for The Midnight Library. All right, fair enough. All right. Berna, The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. Very similar to Life After Life. All right. So it's interesting that there's a lot of books like this with this concept of reliving a life or reliving a day over and over again. Oh, is there a new HBO show coming out about the time traveler's wife? Oh, that's interesting. Are they making it a show instead of a movie then? Because there was a movie, wasn't there, for that? Okay, so we've been chattering away about time travel. That's all right. I am totally up for another sprint. I need to know what's going to happen here in my book. So if you guys are up for it, let's do another sprint here at 1:15. And we will read till 25 2. Does that sound Does that sound good to everybody? Stephen Moffat. Oh, he wrote Doctor Who. Wasn't he also one of the guys who did the Sherlock show? Stephen Moffat, I think so, with Mark Gatiss. Helen, I wouldn't want the same day over and over, but I'd love to go back. Now that is interesting. Okay. So this whole concept, so Groundhog Day, would you prefer to live the same day over and over again? Or would you prefer to go back in time? I guess the question would be whether or not you have any control over where you go back in time. But yeah, which one would you prefer? Another print sounds good. That's very interesting. Like the idea of living the same day over and over again sounds appealing if there's something that you can fix or make better. Time travel, that's interesting to me, but it depends on whether or not you have any control of where you go. If you have control over where you go in time travel, then yeah, that's the one I would choose. I would totally be into that. Berna would prefer to go back in time. Yeah. Berna, do you want to have control over where you go? Or are you fine with just being back in time anywhere, any location? Carolyn, do you want to go back in your life or farther back? Oh yeah, see, that's a good question. Greenstick Cottage, I'd only want to go back if I could keep everything I know now. Yeah, interesting. Time travel, Storm says, but only if I can pick. Yeah, I think I would want to pick too. I wouldn't want to just be thrown somewhere and not be prepared for the time period or anything. Yeah, that would be crazy. Okay. Oh, let's do the next sprint at 20 after, and then we will read until 22, if that's okay. Helen wants to do her own life, definitely. Good. That's good. Also, just saying, I highly recommend About Time to everyone. It's my favorite film of all time, tied with animated Beauty and the Beast. I like Beauty and the Beast too. About Time. I think I've seen that, but I can't remember. And that's obviously, I'm guessing that's another time travel type one. Berna says she thinks back before my lifetime and prefer to pick the time period. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I recently read, there was a Susanna Kearsley, The Rose Garden, and the main character in that one goes to Cornwall and she's staying at a friend's house, and she, like, out of the blue gets thrown back in time and she has no control over any of it. And what's very interesting is, so she gets sent back to, I think it's the late 1700s. And so it was so fascinating to read about, like, this poor woman is trying to figure out how to live in this time period. Like, you know, cooking is so different and the expectations for women were so different. And so just like, you know, I think I would prefer knowing where I'm going, because reading about her, you know, just being so discombobulated in this new world was crazy. Oh, it's a Richard Curtis film. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it was. I read the Rose Cottage with Carolyn. It was great. Okay. So yeah, so we're gonna do another reading sprint here at 20 after. And I'm glad, because yeah, something major just happened. I need to get back to that in my book and find out how that affects everything and what's going to happen. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good 20-minute reading sprint here coming up. And Carolyn says it was so interesting that she couldn't take the clothes she was wearing with her. Okay. Yeah. So that was what was crazy. As I was reading the book, I was thinking this poor woman is going to be running out of clothes, because when she time traveled back in time, she had to hide her modern day clothes and find like clothes that fit from there, which meant that she was running out of clothes on either side. Anyway, okay, so let's get ready. We're going to do another reading sprint here. and we will read until 22. I have to create another banner. All right. Have fun, everyone. right. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Well, things are really picking up now in my book, and I'm still thoroughly confused about what's going on, but I've decided to stop trying to read it like a whodunit and just go along for the ride, because I found myself annoyed partway through the book that wasn't trying to solve the mystery. I was expecting him to behave like a detective in a whodunit, and he's not doing that, but that's okay. It does, his actions make sense for this book that I'm reading. So Julianne, yeah, have you read it or you are reading it? It's very confusing. Carolyn, a great example of Jasper Ford's humor is there was just a part where Thursday was trying to hide the fact that she was almost shot from her mom, and her mom says, "What was that noise?" Probably a car backfiring, says Thursday. Funny, I could have sworn it was a high velocity bullet striking wood. Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect, Carolyn. I do really like the humor in the Thursday Next series. It's so great. The Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde is a great example of a genre blend. And I've been kind of getting more into those, or even just noticing those more. Have you guys read any genre blends where you have, so for example, the Thursday Next series is a blend of mystery and science fiction. I think, yeah, science fiction. I always get science fiction and fantasy mixed up, but I would say a blend of science fiction and mystery. Aaron is actually reading a genre blend right now because he is reading this pirate book that is a mystery, and it's like a golden age style mystery where it's like a locked room type of mystery, but it takes place in, like, I don't know, the 1700s on a ship, and there's pirates. So it's this fantastic blend of genres. If you guys have read anything like that, let me know. I'm always now on the hunt for a good genre blend. Chantel, oh hi Chantel, nice to see you here. She's already writing down books that she wants to read. Welcome. So yeah, we are just in starting a discussion here about genre blends. I know that I heard of one really funny one that I just heard of from Becky from the Bookish Bryants. She's reading alien romances, which that cracked me up when I heard that, but that's a perfect example of a genre blend. Like, that's a science fiction romance book. And I really think that these are becoming more and more popular. And I love that idea. Julianne, I've read it and it's very confusing. When you've finished, I hope you can explain it to me. So she's talking about this. I'm reading The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I'm not sure if I will be able to explain it to you, Julianne. We will see. Naomi has edited and uploaded. Nice. And back to the breaking point. Are you maybe in a bit of a slump then, Naomi, if you're struggling to connect with any books? Maybe you just need to go to one that you know you love, like a series that you've loved, or even a reread of a book that you already know that you love. Maybe that will help. I don't know. That's not great though. When you get in books like that where you're struggling to connect to books. I've done that before where I've like started a book. Nope, don't feel like that one. Try another one. I totally get what you're going through. Carolyn says, I'd say the Outlander series is definitely a mix because it is sci-fi fantasy with the time travel, but also epic romance and historical fiction. Yes, that's true. I always find it interesting when time travel books are listed as science fiction, because I guess that's true, but like in my mind, time travel and science fiction are totally different. Totally different things, even though they're not, but you know. Annika says Station 11 felt like a genre blend. Okay, cool. What were the genres? I haven't read that one. Chantel says, I've read a few that are historical fiction fantasy. I like the genre blend when done well. Yes, it has to be done well. What's an example then, Chantel, of a historical fiction fantasy that you've read? Carolyn says, Shades of Milk and Honey is Regency romance, but fantasy with magic. Ooh, well, there you go. That's a good blend. That's a good genre blend. Julianne says, just finished Murder in Old Bombay and loved it. Oh, I'm glad you loved it, Julianne. That one, I feel like that one is a blend too, because it's technically historical mystery, but there is also adventure and romance in there. Not romance enough that I would call it a genre blend of like mystery and romance. But maybe a blend of like historical mystery and historical fiction, maybe because of the adventure parts. I'm glad you loved it. I did too. It's such a good story. Rainey says, I'm reading Shamrocks and Shenanigans this weekend. Well, that's perfect. We're close enough to St. Patrick's Day that's the perfect read. Helen, I don't mind a genre blend, but I like to know what I'm reading. Yes. No spoilers, but Behind Her Eyes was not what I was expecting or wanting. Now, that's a really good point, Helen, is knowing what you're getting, because it's very off-putting when you come into a book expecting something and you get something else. And I know that that's true for some of us. For The Breaking Point, for example, with Mary Roberts Reinhardt, we went into it expecting a whodunit, and it is not a whodunit. It's a romantic suspense, and it just throws you off, and it really it can dampen your enjoyment of the book if it's not what you're expecting to read. Berna says, Dark Matter is a blend of science fiction and thriller. Oh, yes, that's the one by Blake Crouch, right? I've heard a lot about that book, but I have not read it yet. Naomi, I don't even want to reread a favorite, which is so strange for me. I plan to read a bunch of books this weekend and pick one that works the best. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you're in a rough spot if you don't even want to reread a favorite. Wow. Julianne, Gail Carriger does genre blending in her stories. Okay, I've never heard of that author. Chantel, Fox by Nadine Brandeis is a favorite. It's about the history of Guy Fawkes, but fantasy element has to do with a world that has a stone plague and people can control different colors based on masks. Wow, that sounds super complicated, but the history of Guy Fawkes, that's really interesting. That's cool. Naomi likes that one. Carolyn says, I don't love being thrown in without knowing the different genres to expect. Yeah, that's true. And so I know there's a lot of people that will not even read the synopsis of a book before they read it. But I do, because I need to know what I'm what's coming, right? Like I need to know the genre that I'm reading, have kind of an idea of what to expect. Even people say they go into a book blind, but I don't know if you entirely do. I mean, you have an idea of what the book is, even just by the author or the title or the cover or something. But I do like to know something about the book before I start reading it. Blake Crouch, yeah. Oh, there you go, Carolyn. That's a good example. Watch a show instead of trying to read. Yeah, sometimes it's good. You just don't force it, right? Yeah. Berna, it's past midnight in Turkey, so I will do a sleeping sprint in the next sprint. Good night, friends. Good night, Berna. I hope you have a great sleep, and thank you so much for joining me. It was really fun to have you. Gail Carriger, historical fantasy steampunk. Wow. Yeah, that is totally a blend. I've never read any steampunk. Helen, I always read the synopsis too, even with a favorite and trusted author. Yeah, I do too. Even with an author that I know really well, I still read the synopsis. Greenstick Cottage, haunted house, scary mystery, romance, time travel. Woo, that's a blend. A Stitch in Time by Kelly Armstrong. Okay. I've never heard of that, but that is definitely a blend. Storm says, I skim blurbs because I need to know if it sounds like something I would want to read. Oh, yeah, 100%. I do too. All right. So, yeah, there are so many different. I love that there's these blends of genres. I love it when authors, try and do something a little bit different with their books. So if it's blending genres or if it's the way they tell the story. So even, I mean, that's why I was interested in this one, right? Like he did something different. And even if in the end I'm really confused, I have to respect authors for doing that, for trying something a little bit different with how they tell their story. Hi, Douglas. S.H. Bennett with Her Queen Investigates is a blend of politics and mystery. That is a good point. I actually just got the second book in that series from the library. I haven't started it yet, but the first book, there was more about politics in it than I was expecting. So I would say that I would agree with that it's a good blend. Those ones are really fun. I was a little bit nervous starting the first book in that series because I wasn't entirely sure how the author was going to write Queen Elizabeth. But I liked how she wrote her. I liked how she dealt with that character, and it was a fun mystery. So I'm looking forward to reading the second one in that series. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm up for another reading sprint here in a few minutes. If you guys are okay to keep going and do another reading sprint. Oh, you're reading the second one now, Douglas. Yeah. I can't even remember what the first one was called now. Oh, The Winds Are Not. So yeah, I mean, I love that the author chose, to write a mystery where the queen is the investigator. And I thought that they did it really well, right? Where because the queen takes her responsibilities really seriously and knows that she can't just go off and investigates. And so I liked how that was written. I liked the scenes between her and Philip. I thought that was that was just a fun part of the story. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to diving into the second one and seeing what we have there. Naomi, I might try it, but I might just watch old seasons of reality TV. You know what? Do whatever you got to do, Naomi. I say, do whatever you got to do. She needs to read a Christie this week, so I might try that too. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to put down a book and watch some TV. Yeah. That's nothing wrong with that. All right. What do you guys think if we do another reading sprint at 5:02 and then we'll read till quarter after? Yeah, things are getting crazy, even more crazy in my book. So yeah, I'm excited to keep going with that. I had two other ones here that I was going to maybe switch between, but I haven't even picked those up because I'm so into figuring out what's going on in my book. Carolyn says All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness is a blend of fantasy and romance and historical fiction. Whew, there you go. All right. So yeah, in a minute here, we will do another sprint. That's great. Getting some good reading done this afternoon here in Saskatchewan. I know it's the evening for many of you. This is really fun. I've missed this. I did reading sprints last year for March Mystery Madness and had so much fun. But then, of course, as most of you know, my year got really crazy and I wasn't able to do reading sprints. And so I'm just so glad that I can do them with you guys. And yeah, I'm glad. Annika says, oh, you got disconnected. Oh, that's too bad. I'm glad you're back and you're in for another sprint. Great. Okay, well, get set. I will get us set up for another sprint. Woohoo! Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here. So I need to set a banner for, we will read until quarter after. Yeah, I need to create a banner. All right, everybody, have fun. I forgot to unmute myself. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a great reading time. I am even more into my book now. I am so invested now. It's getting very, very interesting. So Carolyn had said about reading sprints, once a week is very doable. Yeah, once a week is very doable. I might continue them on. It can, if I keep feeling well, although I'm thinking I might just do once a month. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Would you guys be into monthly reading sprints? Rainy day. Oh, Rainy, thanks. Annika, thank you. Helen, you guys are so nice. All right. Carolyn, for the book, she's reading Something Rotten by Jasper Fforde. I wish I had the UK editions because those have awesome covers, and I do like all the covers in this series, but this one has like moldy toast with a skeletal face on it. It's very interesting to me how different the covers are between the UK and the States, and how consistently I prefer the UK covers. I don't know why that is. But I do. I consistently prefer the UK covers over American covers for books. Carolyn, I'm not surprised. That does sound queasy. Helen says, we are lucky in the UK. I generally do prefer our covers, and we can get a lot of sprayed edged books in Waterstones, which I love. Sprayed edges. Ooh, that's fancy. Carolyn, Something Rotten by Jasper Fforde. So I get why they chose that, but gosh, it is disgusting looking. The UK cover has a rainbow car on it. Very cool. Yeah, the UK covers, that car is on all the covers. I like those covers. Carolyn also prefers UK covers. Rainy, yeah, you'd be into monthly reading sprints. That's great. Helen would too. Julianne, she's up for it whenever I am. Ooh, that's good. Annika's in for monthly reading sprints. All right. Well, then I'll do it. Yeah, as long as I'm feeling good, then yeah, I think it would be great to do reading sprints in April. I'll just need to figure out when in April to do it. But yeah. So the question is, do you guys like these weekend ones, or would you prefer, see, if we did it during the week, that gets a little more complicated with all the time zones. So I'm thinking weekend reading sprints. Definitely. Naomi, you would too? Yeah, awesome. Annika, your current cover is so confusing. I'm curious if I'll understand it after reading the book. What are you reading again, Annika? I've forgotten. Oh, that's very interesting. It's too bad you can't include a picture of it. Now I'm very curious. Yeah, I think I'll stick with weekend reading sprints, definitely. Carolyn, you're ordering from Waterstones. That's great. The only time I order books from the UK is when I get books from Book Depository. I haven't tried ordering from Waterstones. Yeah, weekends are good. Yeah. Well, then I think that's what I'll do. I'll look at when in April would be a good time to do Oh, A Mind to Murder. Now I'm very curious what your cover looks like, Annika. Interesting. All right. Oh, Sarah. Hi. Welcome here, Sarah. Yes to all the UK covers. Thank you, Book Depository. Yeah, I agree. And also yes to monthly reading sprints. Cool. Yeah, well, I definitely will. I'll just figure out when to do it in April, and I'll monthly reading sprints sounds good to me. But I think that will be it for us for today. Although to be honest, I'm just going to go back to reading my book because now I'm so curious to know what's going on. But I need to get a drink. I think I have some raspberry lemonade in my fridge that I am very excited to drink some. I love that stuff. It's so good. All right. So thanks for joining me, everybody. And I hope you have the great rest of your weekend, whatever you have planned. And yeah, I hope you have a fantastic week for March Mystery Madness. We'll be back here next weekend, Saturday afternoon again. So this will be the 26th. I will do some more reading sprints next weekend. So join me if you can. And for those of you watching on the replay, I hope you've enjoyed this. And let me know in the comment section down below what you've been reading. I always like to know that. And since we had this conversation about genre blends, let me know if you've read any genre blends that you've really enjoyed. I'd love to hear about that in the comment section as well. And so, yeah, have a great rest of the weekend. Ooh, Naomi's off to the library. Ooh, that's a good idea, actually. And Naomi, that might get you out of your slump. And plus, I always love a trip to the library. Let's be honest, I do. I love a trip to the library. All right, so have a great weekend, everybody. Read some great books, and I'll see you next weekend. All right, bye.